I am Jimbo Paris, and you are listening to The Jimbo Paris Show. All right, hello everyone. This is Jimbo Paris here. Welcome again to The Jimbo Paris Show. And today we have Mouna Saquaque. She's the author of Who Am I, Where Am I? And she's essentially focused on spreading happiness and forgive me, that was security. She was focused on, spreading happiness and peace of mind all across the world. And she's essentially a spiritual student, and she sort of looks at kind of building sort of this catalog of information through her writings and meditations. And her book, Who Am I, Where Am I? It's very popular. It's across all of Europe. Um, in Canada, I believe, and even in places like Japan. So, very interesting person. Let's see what she has to say.
Hello, Jimbo. Hi.
It's great to meet you. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Okay. So to start this off, can you kind of tell me a bit about yourself? Who are you?
So I am a writer. I can't help but writing everything that comes to my mind. Every time I have an idea, an unanswered question, I want to write it, and after I want to share it with others. So I write books, and basically, in 2016 I had internal personal experience with spirit, and it opened a lot of dimensions in me, and a lot of things have changed.
That's really interesting. And can you kind of tell me a bit about your profession?
So I work in mining. Has nothing to do with me being a writer. But every day I write, and I like to publish books.
Okay. And which location are you from? I'm going to guess Europe or some area
No,
like
no,
that.
not far. I am in Africa now.
Oh, Africa.
In Morocco.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes.
Any reason why you're located around North Africa? That's an interesting area.
So my parents are from here. I am Moroccan, so now I am here. I've been living in other countries, but for now I am here. Yes.
All right. And sort of what inspired this idea of your book, Who Am I, Where Am I?
So the book, Where Am I, Who Am I, Where Am I, is a book where I try to answer a lot of questions that kept me awake at night, a lot of unsolved problems, whether spiritual questions or just everyday practical, how to navigate on earth, how to do things, how to get things done, how to deal with people, how to just have answers, like not all the answers, but answers that help you go peacefully, with confidence, with integrity, with love towards others. So that's what that was the point. I woke up one day and I was like, I am going to write every law I know about humans, and how and to help myself first, obviously, and others to just understand more about ourselves.
So, what do you provide to other people who are interested in this book you have, and how do you sort of spread that peace of mind and happiness across the world in your work?
So there is an upcoming book that's going to launch on April 25th, and it's a poetry book. It's different. It's not philosophy, it's poetry, and it's called Back to Love and Beauty. And as you know, poetry is very concise. When philosophy, you have to say a lot of things. but I try to share with readers poems that could help them visit those dimensions of love, peace, self-confidence, self-love, and just being happy to be incarnated on earth while knowing you are not just this human being.
And what are some of the best testimonials or maybe success stories you have from people?
You mean people that I've shared my ideas with?
Yeah. So like people who've read the book, how did that book sort of inspire them in a way?
Well, it's not. When you ask me that questions, it's not really like the best testimonials that I would like to give. But some people wanted to commit suicide, for example, or didn't fit well, or stopped talking to their parents, or were beating on themselves and thinking all the time that something is wrong with them, when it's just life sometimes happening. It has nothing to do with them. So yes, or just others who are happy and want to know more and are just interested in those questions. So it depends. Some people are interested in knowing more, and others implement those things and have a better life. Myself included.
So, what are sort of the parts of the book that actually, you know what? Here's a better question. What was sort of the writing process of the book? Did you enjoy it? Was it a journey? How was that journey of writing that book? Were you self-published?
You're talking about the poetry book, the upcoming book, right?
Well, I'm talking about
Back
Who
to
Am I?
Love and
Where Am
Beauty.
I?
Okay, so the previous book. Okay,
Yeah.
the previous book. So the process is really writing about subjects that have nothing to do with each other, and it's like each subject is a book in itself. And then as you go, there is something that happens in your mind. It's like a puzzle that constructs, and you see that everything is linked, and that for knowing something or for mastering something, you always need to have a lot of other knowledges. So that's what happened. I wrote a lot of subjects, and then it clicked in my mind, and it was very difficult to put them all together in a coherent way. But yeah, it was very interesting.
How did you celebrate when you finished your book?
I stopped writing for 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I'm like, I'm gonna give myself a break. Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes you have an information and you think you know, and you have it, you master it, but unless you have practiced it, you don't know yet. So sometimes we understand things and we gather information, and life puts us in situations where we have to just practice what we learned, and then we're like, oh, I was just understanding it intellectually, but now that it's in practice, it's way more difficult, and it's a challenge, and I am willing to do it, to go further.
Okay. And on average, just provide an average. How long does it take for you to sort of write a book? And could you possibly give people some advice on maybe their writing process as
Yes,
well?
of course, I would love to. So the who am I, where am I? I would say 3 years, but because I was not really, I was not. It wasn't my plan to publish it. But when I decided to, I think it took 3 months. For the poetry book, It's because it's different. It's just like states or feelings that it's overwhelming, beautiful feelings, and I just have a calling. I just feel like writing, and after I just gather poetry and I put them together. And for this book, my next book, it's called Time. So I think it took me 4 months. So I think it's experience. Experience shorten the period of time it takes to write a book. And also, I think you get more confident, more disciplined. So my history with writing, if it can help, I was just taking notes, and then I tried to make one subject per notes, and then I tried to put them together. And so this was the first step. But now I'm more like I try to find a general theme, and under this theme, I write. But if I think along the way, if I think that something comes up and it's interesting, I'm gonna add it. Just write. My advice is just write, 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 write. Don't judge yourself, and one day you'll have enough writings to be able to gather it and to put it in a book.
So if you could possibly tell your younger writing self anything, it would be that. Just write, 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 write.
Yes, and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be. You don't need to be writing for others. You can be writing just for yourself. You can be journaling, and as you go journaling, you might have ideas coming, and they might not seem relevant at that time. But one day you're going to connect the dots, and you will see that even your mind has been through a process of having questions, answering them, and from this answer there is another question that comes, and you go through this process until you find an ultimate answer where you can't go further. And now you know that you have enough information and to put it together and to write a book.
Okay. And when you were sort of writing that book, what was the most fun part of it?
Um, it was fun, but at the same time challenging. It's trying to marry science and emotion, psychology. So that was the fun part, and still being serious about the two.
How did you sort of mend those things together in a maybe simple way?
Um, I think, yeah, I've never thought about it before, but now that you're mentioning it, I think that there has to be in your mind, and you're gonna know when it happens. There has to be a story. A story. It doesn't have to be linear, but there has to be a story. If you go to someone and you tell them about a subject, you have to be able to go to put them through all the processes so that they understand your point. So when you are able to make a whole story about what you're writing in your mind, you know that you're ready, and then you can put it as an outline, and you go from there.
Okay. And sort of just to chime in again on what would be one thing you would want to give up or you would want to sort of trade off in order to become a better writer?
Ego. Maybe. Yeah, I don't have any other question. Answer. Yeah, the ego. The ego comes from time to time. Yeah, doubts. I don't know. Yeah, but the ego is helpful too because it's very creative. Like it's an angel and a demon at the same time. So.
Mm. What are your personal experiences with the ego?
Uh, I used to dismiss it, but as I aged, I listened to it, and I'm having conversations with the ego. I'm like, you don't need to defend me. We don't need to defend ourselves. We don't need to doubt. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. And you can outgrow your ego when you show your ego that you're committed to what you're doing, whether it's diet, exercise, writing, whatever, just studying, wherever. When you show the ego that you outgrow it and you outgrow its fears, it starts trusting you and believing in you. So.
And how do you sort of install in someone's mind that happiness and peace of mind are sort of the most important aspects you should look for in your life?
Try it. No, what I mean is happiness and peace of mind. I mean, I am really not a believer, but really an experiencer, a knower of the fact that peace of mind and happiness are our true nature. But because of experiences, because of damaging beliefs or things that happened to us or in front of us, sometimes we go into a survival mode, sometimes we go too far in the future where we can't even project ourselves and we stress about something that it's very, very far from us, or we remember things from the past. So you just need to, when you're stressed or anxious, you just need to remember yourself to be here and now. And to be here and now is an easy thing to say, but tools would be whatever activity suits you or calms you, or no activity or whatever, just for a day or two. I usually give myself 2 to 3 days, and then I come back to being calm. And yeah, like it's a knowledge, but still you need some tools, and the tools are not universal, so everyone has different tools. I know people who go run just to calm their mind. I know people who cook. I know people who meditate. I know people. It depends on what your calling is. What makes you not happy, because that's not the point. It's too far away to be happy. But just to be more peaceful, just an activity that calms you down until the storm passes, and then life come back, and you find your happiness again.
What is life?
So life is experiencing. Sorry, it's experiencing, meaning it's everything that you do when you are not in a deep sleep state. And there is a part that's just, some people don't like to call it objective, but reasonably objective. Every time from the day you remember, you find a sun, a moon, a sky. You have to have a shelter. You have to have food, clothes on. Basic needs, basic human needs on an earth that we all live in. So this is objective. And then there is the subjective part. And the subjective part is obviously where you're born, the culture, the beliefs, the people that have raised you, and the system and the paradigm of the time that you're born. There was a time where incest or cannibalism or slavery were normal things. So we are happy that we were not born in those times. So I think that human life is always for the best, and that tomorrow is always going to be better than yesterday. From a moral standpoint, but from a happiness, a peace of mind standpoint, it depends on you. It depends on what you want to experience. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on your callings. It depends on your abilities. Sometimes I want to do things, but I can't. So it's a sum of all of this.
So you're saying we're in the first example of life you gave.
Which one?
So you said one about more so happiness, and the other one was a bit more of a more savage depiction of life.
Yes. No, what I mean is the conditions today to
Mm.
be free, to be happy, to be peaceful.
So that's the one we're in now.
Yes. And
Okay,
yeah,
I get it.
this is life on Earth's evolution. We can ignore it, we can deny it, we can perceive it otherwise, but that's true. The truth is that every generation has it better on Earth. I'm talking about the conditions, outer conditions, than the previous one. But it doesn't mean that we are going to live happier or that we are going to have a better life. That is on us.
So when can you say, or someone else say, essentially that they're finally kind of living life?
Well, I think it depends on only one thing. You have always been living life, but the day you make a decision that everything that happens to you has to do with you, when you accept it, I think that things change. And I think also that when you find what really makes you happy, what you really want, and not what you see other people do, like you might tomorrow discover that the thing that's going to make you the most happy is to go to, I don't know, Costa Rica and be a fisherman or whatever. So when we say success, people have a lot of associations with it. And when you do those associations, they prevent you from really knowing what success means. So, and that's why I was mentioning the ego before, because the ego is into comparison. It's into you should do more, you should do better, you have the potential. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But there is a point where the ego is going to abide when the ego sees that you're happy where you are and by doing what you do, and that you don't need more than what you have, and that if more happens, then it's okay, and if it doesn't happen, you don't care. So it's a journey of non-attachment to those associations, I think. It's
Now,
just discovering yourself and falling in love with yourself and being happy with yourself, and not asking yourself to be a clone to anyone. Just, while being kind, you can dismiss things and people who are not in alignment with that kindly, So
so you would say you're mostly people that read this book will be more in line with finally living their life. Is that what you're saying too?
the poetry book is very, very. I like it. I like it. It's for people who like to feel instead of to just understand.
So I think that's another thing that came up to me. What's the difference and what's the purpose of the Who Am I, Where Am I book versus the poetry? What was your intention with it?
It's two different worlds.
Oh,
So I have a poem that says, "Today I don't want to do anything. I don't want to. I don't want to understand. I don't want to. I just want to be in the feeling, be my mind at peace, and just feel the love, feel the beauty. And by beauty I mean harmony, and just not waiting for anything from anyone. Just being not feeling entitled, not feeling just being in grace and love and." I'm fine keeping knowledge about how to cook or find the salt, but conclusions and beliefs I want to forget, and I want to stop. So just stopping any judgment about myself or about others, and I don't do it every day, but when you go to these dimensions, like from time to time, they really set you up, and I think they cleanse you, and they take you to higher vibrations, and you're another person, and other desires arise. Sometimes you don't even see the horizon, you know? I don't know if you understand what I mean, but sometimes you get to a point where you don't desire anything.
Mm.
And sometimes it's cool, but sometimes it's sad too. So when you're at a reset button, there are desires or callings that come through you, but they come from the heart. They don't come from the mind.
Mm.
Like you don't
And
understand.
no,
Yeah.
I do
But
understand, but
no, I mean,
I'm
like
just
when it happens, you don't understand. You're like, where do you come from? This desire? Why would I write poetry? Or why would I do this? Or why would I go to, you know?
so how do you personally find desire in your life when you maybe have you ever hit that horizon as you would describe it, the end of the horizon?
Yes, yes, yes. But it's not no horizon at all. It's just that the horizon is not attracting anymore. You want the future. You don't want the future. The idea of the future is what attracts you. Like
Mm.
when it's not attracting anymore, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And don't get me wrong, I like routines. I do routines. I live by routines, especially in my responsibilities. But sometimes you don't see any horizon. There is nothing. You're like, what am I doing here? I'm just basically a robot.
Hmm.
And I'm talking about myself. I don't know if everyone experienced that. And then there is no horizon, and the future is not attracting. And sometimes there is a desire that arises in you, and suddenly it's attractive, but also it gives you energy to also do the basic everyday thing. You don't even see them, like you accomplish your grocery, paying bills, going there, doing work, and you have energy and you don't even feel the effort because you're filled with the desire to transcend it and to I need to finish this so I can go and do this.
And what's the difference between making things happen versus just letting things happen?
Yes. Yes. So I think there is two levels to it. First of all, sometimes there is nothing that you can do more than what you've already done. Like you've done everything you could, and it's just a gestation period. So you just need to trust. Like when you plant a seed, you can do nothing. You've planted it, you can do nothing anymore. So you just wait in and you have faith. And by waiting, I'm not talking about being impatient and frustrated and everything. So you learn how to use this gestation time instead of being just. I, I get bored very easily and I get impatient, so I needed to work on myself very much on this. So you just first you understand that some things need time and don't need you. Like you've done everything, just don't be there, let it be. And at the same time, if you feel impatient or too focused on it, then you can use that, I call it dead time, like time off, to do something else. But there is another level to it. Making things happen versus letting things happen is that sometimes it's too big, and there's too many things in play, and you have to know that things have to align. People have to be certain place at certain times, and you just do your part. And you're not sure it's going to happen. It's not a gestation time. It can happen 50%, 50%, and you can do nothing about it. And it has nothing to do about you. It's just opportunity, chances, and yeah.
Do you think life on Earth has, a purpose?
Yes. Our life, our lives is our purpose. My life is my purpose. Everything that I do is my purpose. I don't know if it's clear. I mean, you from the day you're born up to this moment, this was your purpose. Everything that happened, it's your purpose. So there are things that are under your control, and a lot of things are under your control, but there are others that are not. But still, it's your purpose. It's your life. You are responsible for it.
Oh, maybe I could phrase this in a better way, but what is sort of the purpose of human life? You think?
Um, um, I am. Do you want me to be like honest? I don't like to talk about my religious beliefs, but I think that humans' purpose is just to bring harmony on earth, universal moral, everyone respecting everyone. And it doesn't mean that you're gonna work on it all the time. It just means it's the way you treat the cashier, it's the way you treat others, it's the way you behave with everyone. And the sum of it all is human's purpose.
And when we're talking about purpose here, I think we could also talk a bit about fulfillment as well. Do you think people in your life fulfill you?
People fulfill me. I have been blessed with a beautiful father who has passed. He passed away last November.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah. So yes, he was. I think I have been blessed with my parents. They are a big part of. I mean, I love them very much, and I they were open enough to talk about our relationships, everything that happened in the past. They were open about like just talking about the mistakes that they've made as with me as a child. And me doing the same. So I'm very blessed. You know that the parents have a big role in everything that happens in our mind. Yeah, I'm pretty now. I can say today it was not always the case, but I have only like true relationships with people. It doesn't mean I am friends with everyone I know, but all my relationships are authentic and true, and I respect them and they respect me. Wish them the best, and they wish me the best. I think, yeah.
And sort of why do you keep, or why should people in general keep people around their life that are good, that fulfill them?
It's not necessary. I always say that we are never alone. We literally are never alone. On a human level, how many people have been building the place you're in? How many people have been building everything that you have on your office? The food, your fridge, the butcher, the like so many people work for you. It's crazy. Everyone is at your service. And also there is the minds of billions of people around you all the time, and you can connect to them. So if you feel like you don't have a lot of people around you, that's what I tell people. If you don't have a lot of people in your close environment, then just going and talking to the store guy, to anyone. Go to dance class. You know no one, but you're gonna be talking to people. You don't need them to be your friends. You just need to be socializing with people as much as you can. And I think 30 minutes, 1 hour per day is more than enough. Now, some people like to have people in their intimacy, and but it's not everyone's case. Some people like to be by themselves, and some other people have been with horrible people that treated them bad, or abusive families. So you don't need to put yourself in those abusive relationships just to have people in your life.
And are you sort of just to ask another question here? Would you say you're living in the present or holding on to the past or the future? And sort of why?
So the past doesn't come often. Like everything that I need to know about the past, I I have it. I have access to it. Meaning, like everything that I've learned, English is part of my past. I have access to it now. I don't need to go because I have done a lot of work on my past. I've
Mm.
spent like 3 years on my past trying to debunk it and trying to understand everything. And then it would never end, you know? If you lived 20 or 30 or 40 years, will you spend another 40 years trying to uh, to understand your past, trying to change it? When are you going to live? So I almost very rarely look at the past now, but I do look at the future, and I try to anticipate. I don't look at the future stressing. I just do an exercise of timelines. What are the possible timelines that I can have in the future, and which one I like more, and why? What should I do to be here or there? And then I just detach. I don't get stressed. I just detached, and I do my every day what I have to do and try to live in the present. It's in the future. It's the future that's interesting. It's the future that's real too. You can do nothing in the past, but in the future, everything is possible. Maybe not everything for everyone, but for a lot of people, everything is possible, and for others, a lot of things are possible in the future.
Mm. What helps you to stay focused on the future?
Um, I focus on the present, but so every time there is a change in my life, whether it's outside situation that I can't control, or something that happens to me, or something that happens inside of me, obviously it means that there is a course of change. Something's going to change, so I try to look at it and to see what are the possibilities, and I try to anticipate. I think about people in my life, and I try to think about them, and to I work in the back seat, and I try to see how I can help with their future and with mine. But and then when you decide, it's what you do today that's important. So it's cool to have a vision for the future, and you stick to it. And a vision might be 1 year, 2 years, or, oh, when I'm going to die, I'm going to be happy because I'm going to be, the day I'm going to transit, I'll be happy about my life. I would have done this and that. I would have stick to it. I would have fought the right fight. I would have kept going and did my best every day. So it can be that, the future.
And what is your favorite quote?
Yes. Love is the only truth. Everything else is an illusion. Sometimes I find myself writing it I don't know. I don't know the writer. It's a quote from someone, but I don't remember the writer. And sometimes I
We could
find
pull
myself,
that up. We could pull that
yeah,
up.
everything else is love is the only truth. Everything else is an illusion. I don't remember the writer. And so sometimes I just find myself writing it on a piece of paper because I like it so much.
And what is sort of the significance of that quote to you?
Depends on your level of consciousness. It can be just, I think the ultimate understanding is that you and I are mirroring each other. And sometimes bad things happen and you want to seek justice or things like that. But you can go above in this code. Love is the only truth, and just feel empathy and compassion for everyone and see where they're coming from. And the more you work on yourself, the easier it is to see in others dysfunctions and that, they're just trying to defend themselves or they're in illusory fight or whatever. And so love and compassion, I think, are the highest vibrations of earth. Forgiveness. It's things that snap you instantly to another level of understanding, of wisdom. So, and I also think that by loving others, in the long term, you see what happens and why, and you connect the dots. Because you're out of the battle, you're out of me, it's against me, and you're more into we are all one. And if I am able to give love in this situation, sometimes I can't, but if I am able to give love in this situation, it's better for me. It's always better for me.
And sort of, I think you mentioned before that you do meditations and writing. How do you sort of do those things? And what advice would you give to anyone who's interested in that and working with you?
You mean with meditations?
Yeah.
So I think there are two types of meditations. So there is a meditation where you stop the mind, like you go to a no thoughts place where you have no thoughts. You just want to stop the thoughts because you know that they are spiraling, or you just want a peaceful mind. And there are techniques for that. For example, if you have a clock or a tick, 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 I think this is the easiest one for people who never meditate. So it's a ticking clock, and you just try to focus on the ticking. And every time you have a thought, you go back to the ticking, tick, 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 and it's very powerful. You can try to do 5 minutes the first week, and then 10 minutes. 15 minutes is the best. But you can start by 5 minutes because in the beginning it's going to be a little bit hard to focus on the ticking. There is breath meditations too. But I think it's better to see with professionals because breath meditations are not good for everyone. It depends on your level. And the other form of meditation is really like just connecting with yourself, and whatever feeling comes, you see it, you explore it. Whatever thoughts come, you see it and you explore it, and everything has something to say. You don't run away from anything. Sometimes we are strong enough to do this exercise, but other times it's more difficult. So it's up to the person.
All right. So which one do you do? I'm assuming it's the last one you mentioned. All right.
The last one, I do both. Sometimes I just don't want to think. I don't want to think because I feel like I am biased, or I've been thinking too much, or I've been gathering a lot of information. And when I said earlier, change the course of things in the future, you can do it without stopping your thoughts. So sometimes you just want to stop your thoughts and come as objectively as possible to the question, to whatever you are about to do. And you find yourself resourceful and creative and new ideas. So yes, stopping your mind is a good idea to do. At least like, I think 3 times a year.
And what sort of drives you to sort of find the answers you're looking for to these questions that you may have
They
about
won't,
yourself?
they won't let me sleep.
Mm.
Yeah. It's like no door is going to open if you don't find this answer. So it starts like that. It's unanswered questions or unsolved problems, and from there you discover interesting things, and interesting things happen inside of you, and like sometimes you just if you are willing to work on yourself, if you are humble enough to work on yourself and to be honest, and to tell yourself that there are things that you can change in your life, in yourself, if you want to do, if you want to be a better person, and not always find that the outer conditions or other people are the reason for your problems. Sometimes you observe yourself reacting, and you are, who are you? You change so much. You tell yourself, a year ago I was in the same situation, and I uh, and I reacted completely differently. So yes.
Mm. Okay. And can we just take do you have a website by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at it and let's get a bit of a run. Just for
It's going to be refreshed by Monday,
oh,
because we are uploading the new book, and
okay. So is there any sneak peeks, anything interesting you'd like to give before you
yeah,
reveal this new book?
I really would like to thank you for your invite. I really, really appreciate our exchanges. It was a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much. I am not used to talk about myself in in podcasts, and yeah, I'm happy I met you today, and thank you so much for this opportunity to be on your show. Very thankful.
It's my privilege. And again, thank you again for being on the show. Um, Before we end this off, I would just like to make a few quick shout outs. The first shout out is down below, Judy Ryan. She is our affiliate partner. She works at LifeWork Systems, and she's focused on teaching businesses how to have better collegial environments, to sort of have better relationships, and to essentially create a better environment as a whole for many different corporate businesses that have 30 or more people. So if you would like me to provide you with any guidance on how to start working with her, please let me know. It would be my pleasure. Next thing we'd like to discuss here is our YouTube channel. Subscribe now. We're around 104 subscribers. So I think slightly more, but keep ringing the bell, please. If you want more educational content that can teach you a lot, again, ring the bell and you could get great updates on the show. Next one is our Roku channel. We're on Roku TV, and essentially you can just go there and watch us there. Everything will be on Roku, especially this episode. So yeah, get on Roku channel and check us out. And then, Jimbo Paris Consulting Services. We have a consulting service, and essentially we can automate social media accounts for you. We can give you a growth perspective, and we can help you grow your social media, grow your podcast, and we could also run it for you. So you don't have to do anything on your own. All right. So again, I'm Jimbo Paris. This is the Jimbo Paris Show. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening to the Jimbo Paris Show.